All right, to start, therapy is, at its core, a place to look at your life and interactions differently, a place to pause and notice what's happening beneath the surface. The work can help you learn to listen to yourself more, become more aware of your patterns, and get a clearer idea of the parts of your life that have been asking for attention. People come to therapy for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it's after a particularly hard week that felt too heavy to carry. Sometimes it's after years of holding too much alone and you just can't keep going the way you are. Sometimes it's because something that used to work just suddenly doesn't. Whatever it is, you're getting a clear message from inside yourself that something needs to change. First of all, therapy isn't just talking, and it's not just about venting. I get asked this often. How can you sit there and listen to people complain for hours on end? To be clear, that is not what I do. Counseling is a structured conversation with a trained professional who's using evidence-informed approaches to help you make sense of what's going on inside you and around you. We move at your pace, your goals guide the work, and your nervous system sets the speed. Second, what you say in therapy stays there, with a few specific exceptions that your therapist should always explain in the very first session. Things like immediate risk of harm, concerns about a child's safety, or a court order. There shouldn't be any surprises around confidentiality. You deserve to know exactly how your information is held. That said, confidentiality isn't just a rule. It's part of what makes therapy feel safer than most everyday conversations. It creates a container where you don't have to worry about how your words land, whether someone will repeat them, or how your honesty might affect a relationship. In therapy, the safety of the space doesn't depend on someone's mood, history, opinions, or their personal needs. It's steady, it's predictable, and it's held by these confidentiality boundaries, not by the dynamics that come with friendships or family connections. That consistency is what allows people to share things they've never said out loud before, things that feel messy, complicated, confusing, or painful. It's what makes deeper work possible. Another thing is that therapy is collaborative. A therapist isn't there to fix you. You aren't broken. In my approach, the work is collaborative. My role is to create a grounded, steady space where you can unpack what's going on and what really matters to you. I meet you exactly where you are, without judgment or expectation, with real empathy for what you're carrying. I know how heavy it can get, and I want to know how you're feeling, the good, the bad, and the ugly. In this space, you don't have to hide any part of yourself, even the parts you usually keep tucked away because they feel too messy, too complicated, or too hard to name. From that place of grounding, the work unfolds at your pace. Your voice leads the process, not mine. It's important to understand that we all have roles in counseling. Yours is to simply show up as you are, honest, uncertain, hopeful, guarded, curious, overwhelmed, or anything in between. You don't need polished answers or a clear plan, just a willingness to look at things from another angle. Working with me, you guide what we explore and you set the pace. You choose what feels meaningful to talk about, what feels too tender, and what's beginning to shift. One thing that many people don't realize, though, is most of the real change happens between sessions. In counseling, you may gain insight, clarity, and support, but the integration happens in your everyday life, in the small choices you make, the moments you notice something new, and the ways you respond differently than before. My role is to bring the knowledge, theory, and training I've gathered, not as an authority, but as a resource. Just as importantly, I offer a clear, persistent, consistent presence and a sense of safety that hopefully makes deeper exploration possible. I've intentionally developed skills that help me listen closely, reflect what I'm noticing, and connect patterns to what I know as a counselor. I pay attention to your pace, your cues, and the threads in your story that are hard to see alone. What I don't do is decide where we're going, give advice, or define who you should be. My work is to support you in hearing your own voice, needs, and hopes more clearly, so you can carry what you learn into your life between the sessions. When these roles meet, your lived experience, my steady presence, the work becomes something shared, not something done to you. Insight grows because you're ready for it. Change builds because you're practicing it in real time. Your own voice becomes clearer, your choices become more aligned with who you truly are, and it all starts with a space where every part of you is welcome. I often get asked how therapy is different from opening up to a friend or family member. Both matter, both can be supportive. The difference in counseling is, again, the structure and the purpose. This space is intentionally shaped around you without needing to protect or manage someone else's feelings. We all know how that feels. Your counselor is going to use professional training and evidence-informed approaches to help you explore deeper patterns in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Boundaries and confidentiality, as I said, create that container where honesty becomes easier. That's not to say it's better or it's worse than friends or family. It's just different. Therapy becomes another piece of your support system. It doesn't replace the people who matter to you, and it's not meant to be your only source of support. So one of the biggest part of counseling is figuring out our patterns. Most of us learn ways of coping that were really important at one point in our lives. They helped us handle experiences that felt big, stressful, or out of our control. They protected us, kept us moving, or helped us feel in control when everything else felt unpredictable. But as life changes, those same patterns can start to feel heavy. What once made sense can become exhausting. What once kept us safe can begin to hold us back. You might not notice it until you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or simply tired of doing things the same way. Therapy gives you a chance to slow down and begin to understand those patterns. Not to judge them, but to see them clearly. You get to recognize where they come from, how they helped you, and why they show up the way they do. From that understanding, you can explore what might work better for you now, not by forcing change or abandoning what kept you safe, but by finding new ways of being that fit the person you are today. Another aspect of therapy, counseling is not something that happens just in your mind. Your body is part of the process too. As you talk, you may start noticing things you've carried for a long time without realizing. A tight chest, a clenched jaw, a knot in your stomach, or moments when you suddenly feel checked out or far away. You might also notice the opposite, the small things that help you feel a little calmer, a little more settled. Your body reacts for reasons that make sense, even if those reasons aren't clear at first. Stress, old fears, past experiences, and daily pressures all show up physically. Counseling helps you begin to understand those reactions instead of fighting them or ignoring them. In therapy, as I said, we slow things down enough for you to notice what's happening in real time. The way I support you is to help you name those feelings, make sense of why they might be there, and find ways to ground yourself when things feel intense. It's not about getting rid of reactions, but about learning to navigate them with more clarity and self-compassion. Over time, you begin recognizing your signals earlier. You learn what helps you stay grounded, what throws you off, and what brings you back. And little by little, you build a deeper sense of safety inside yourself, a kind of internal steadiness that comes into the rest of your life. Now, even though we've talked about these different qualities of counseling, it really is different for everyone. There's no right way to do therapy. People come in with different needs, different histories, and different questions, and all of it is valid. Some come wanting to understand their relationships, why certain patterns keep showing up, or why certain dynamics feel so hard. Some come carrying experiences from the past that affect them still today. Some arrive feeling burnt out, lost, overwhelmed, and unsure of who they are. Others come because they're exploring parts of their identity or trying to understand experiences connected to ADHD, autism, or other neurotypes. There isn't one path, one pace, or one correct focus. Your reasons for being here shape the work we do together. Therapy follows your questions, your needs, and your timing, not a preset formula. Not in my session room, anyway. What matters most is that you show up as you are, and we take it from there. Another important thing to think about is what therapy is not. Therapy isn't a performance. You don't have to show up with everything figured out or pretend you're okay when you're not. It's not about being perfect, saying the right things, or presenting a polished version of yourself. It's also not something reserved only for moments of crisis. People come when they're overwhelmed, yes, but also when they're curious, stuck, lonely, frustrated, burnt out, or simply wanting life to be different. And you're not expected to know how to do therapy before you start. Most people come in unsure and nervous, wondering if they'll even know what to say. All of that is completely normal. Part of the work is learning slowly that you can show up as you are, and we'll figure it out together. My personal approach, I think, is warm, straightforward, and rooted in being fully human with one another. Together, we take the time we need to really sit with what's happening without rushing or pressure. We talk honestly about what's hard and what's helping. We look at the parts of your life that feel heavy and the places where you want more ease or clarity. And there's room for humor, even a few F-bombs, and for honesty that isn't always easy to say out loud. Sometimes I'll offer a gentle challenge if I notice something important. always with care and always in service of your growth. Underneath all of that is a consistent focus on how you're doing in the moment, emotionally, physically, and in terms of your overall capacity. So the work feels manageable and supportive. And through it all, we move in a way that respects your pace, your readiness. So if you're wondering whether therapy might help you, well, here's some things you should know. You don't need a diagnosis to start therapy. You don't need to be in crisis. You don't need the perfect story or the right words. Curiosity is enough. Wanting things to feel different is enough. If you're wondering whether therapy might feel good, you're welcome to book a free 15-minute consult. There's no pressure and no commitment, just a conversation to see what feels right for you. It's an open door if you want it.